Welcome to the weekly EdTech analysis from Webhostville Services. Our mission is simple: to align technical infrastructure, pedagogical excellence, and institutional strategy for African education. We don't just track the news here, we interpret it through the Webhostville 4-pillar AI readiness framework. So, let's cut through the noise and look at exactly what today's developments mean for your institution. Welcome executive leaders to this explainer.
In today's intelligence briefing, we're covering a massive transition happening right now, the shift from fragmented, ad hoc AI adoption toward fully governed, sovereign AI ecosystems. We'll quickly walk through the macro shift, the shadow AI threat, our 4-pillar framework, infrastructure, capacity, and finally, how to activate your roadmap.
All right, let's jump straight into part 1, the macro shift, and how we navigate these new national mandates.
Look, AI isn't just some passing trend anymore, right? It has become a highly regulated national priority. To really put this into perspective, look at this figure: $7.5 million. The Federal Ministry of Communications, Innovation, and Digital Economy, alongside the Gates Foundation and Lagos Business School, just launched this massive AI Scaling Hub. The whole goal is to drive local innovations across education, health, and agriculture. But here's the catch. While establishing national compute infrastructure is great, trying to scale these technologies without unified data governance, well, that's just a recipe for disaster.
Which brings us right to part 2, the shadow AI threat. We're talking serious operational friction and compliance risks here.
So this rapid national scale-up introduces a huge complication for institutions, and it's what we call shadow AI. When you have fragmented deployments and unvetted algorithms running wild, you are exposing yourself to severe compliance liabilities, especially under the Nigeria Data Protection Act of 2023. Simply giving students access to generic AI tools is incredibly risky for their data privacy. The alternative? A managed sovereign cloud architecture. This gives you centralized data governance, full privacy compliance, and actually predictable scaling. You literally cannot afford to operate unmanaged systems anymore.
And beyond the legal risks, the impact of shadow AI on actual learning is staggering. The OECD and UNESCO recently confirmed that using generic, unguided AI actually reduces student exam performance by 17%. Think about that. Offloading cognitive tasks to consumer chatbots without any explicit pedagogical intent just breeds disengagement. Having access to software absolutely does not automatically equal a better education.
So, let's look at part 3. The Webhostville 4-pillar framework, which is essentially your antidote to this ad hoc AI chaos.
How do we reverse that 17% drop and actually protect learners? We interpret these macro shifts through our proprietary resolution, the Webhostville 4-pillar AI readiness framework. This is a methodology designed to perfectly align your technology infrastructure, data governance, and human capacity with your core institutional strategy and national development goals. It's all about moving you from being a passive consumer of technology into the strategic architect of your institution's future.
Moving on to part 4, infrastructure and governance. This is how we secure the engine room.
Let's break down those first 2 pillars, which are the absolute bedrock of security for your learners. Pillar 1 is infrastructure. You need to centralize with enterprise platforms like Google Workspace for Education to ensure your data stays locally resident and secure. Pillar 2 is data governance. And here we focus on FATE: fairness, accountability, transparency, and explainability. By mandating human-in-the-loop reviews and explainable AI, meaning the AI can clearly show you exactly how it got its answer, you protect sensitive student information from being swallowed by unvetted black box algorithms.
Okay, part 5, capacity and strategic alignment. Time to empower the human element.
Because let's be honest, even the best infrastructure falls flat without the right people. The Director General of NITDA hit the nail on the head, warning that chronic infrastructure deficits and digital skills shortages are threatening national readiness. This points out a massive systemic flaw we see all the time: organizations treating digital transformation like it's just some isolated IT project rather than a core human strategy. Software access means nothing if your staff doesn't have the capacity to actually use it effectively.
To prevent that cognitive disengagement we talked about earlier, institutions absolutely must cultivate their staff into what we call teacher architects. What is that? It's an educator who has been upskilled from just passively clicking around software into an active, proactive designer of ethical, AI-mediated learning environments. Technology without proper pedagogical design is frankly a wasted investment.
And that brings us to Pillar 4, strategic alignment. Your infrastructure has to pass what we call the SDG4 litmus test. It has to deliver real, measurable graduate employability. Across sub-Saharan Africa, EdTech is rapidly pivoting to address a terrifying 12 million job deficit that our youth face every single year. Traditional universities have to catch up by building adaptive AI skills right into their accredited degrees. And crucially, they have to do this using accessible, low-bandwidth, outcome-driven platforms.
Now, we have to acknowledge a massive blind spot here. Trying to just copy and paste bandwidth-heavy Western AI models onto the continent leads directly to severe digital exclusion, especially for rural learners. Western models assume high bandwidth and perfectly stable power. But the African higher ed reality? It's often erratic power, really expensive data, and rigid academic accreditation. To truly align with national goals, you have to prioritize mobile-first, offline-capable architectures.
Which brings us to our final section, Part 6, Activating Your AI Roadmap. Let's synthesize all of this into actionable steps.
The unspoken truth in all of this is that the real bottleneck isn't a lack of AI tools, it's a failure of institutional governance. So, to capitalize on these national AI initiatives, you have to transition from reactive adoption to proactive governance right now. Here are the 4 critical steps. First, audit your current exposure to shadow AI. Second, establish a centralized, managed, sovereign cloud ecosystem. Third, implement ethical review boards for pre-deployment audits. And fourth, invest in upskilling your academic staff into those teacher architects.
Navigating this shift toward true institutional agency is a complex journey, but we are here to simplify it. We are actively onboarding forward-thinking education institutions to our Strategic Infrastructure Partner Program to conduct end-to-end tech readiness audits. Let's make sure your tech infrastructure, data governance, and human capacity are all working in perfect harmony. Reach out to us at webhostville.com, email us at info@webhostville.com, or find us across LinkedIn, Facebook, X, Instagram, and YouTube. Let's explore how strategic alignment can better serve your learners.
As you reflect on this intelligence briefing, I want to leave you with one critical question. Is your current AI architecture a severe compliance liability, or is it a governed strategic asset for your learners? The choice is entirely in your hands. Thank you for tuning into this explainer, and thank you for your ongoing commitment to excellence in African education.